Let's talk about Jenny McCarthy because Jenny McCarthy just did Stephen Miller's wife's podcast, and she's up on there. She's basically RFK Jr. with tits, or sorry, implants, because she was up in there with these anti-vax talking points, and I left the thing open on purpose. I didn't watch the video because anything with Katie Miller or Stephen Miller, because they only have one tone, and that's like they're always screaming, like kind of like Sucker A. Smith, always screaming. Your volume is always up here. It's never like even keeled, like how my voice is right now. So she went on her show and was talking a whole bunch of bullshit, and the comments over there on Katie Miller's YouTube channel was a cackle. So we'll get into those in a minute. So Jenny McCarthy, who served as a co-host from 2013 to 2014. Damn, she's only in for one season. She did season 17 of The View. She talked candidly about her experience on the daytime talk show during the Tuesday, January, and this is the worst because it premiered on January 6th, Katie Miller's podcast. Why this annoying bitch got a podcast? I told her everybody named Mama got a podcast at this point. Now, when asked if she thinks she'd be invited back as a co-host on the show, now in its 29th season, McCarthy reflected on her initial invitation. She said the reason why they wanted to bring me on is because they, quote, said it was to, or wait, she said why they wanted to bring me on is because they, quote, said it was too polarizing. They thought it was too polarizing back then, you guys. Are you saying would or wouldn't? Because I'm confused. Like, if you polarize, they don't want you on the show. So, according to McCarthy, the show initially intended to bring her on as a permanent panelist to provide light, fluffy, and fun commentary on topics such as Dancing with the Stars and The Bachelor. I do remember that because I think when she was on there, when Sherry Shepherd was on it, and I think at one point, who was that tall comedian? I forgot her name. Michelle something. I remember one time they brought her on for one season, and I think they were supposed to come on and kind of be the pop culture gurus. It wasn't about politics, but then they started to shift more into politics, and she kind of felt out of place at that part because Elizabeth Hasselm Snatch was on that show at the time too. That's when they had that small ass table that they was all trying to squeeze five women in, behind. So she said, "Well, that lasted a week." That lasted a whole week. And back then, I didn't consider myself to be a political person, which is why I thought I was perfect for the job. After a week, when they said they wanted to get political, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? They're like, today we're going to be discussing the hostage situation and whether the United States government should pay the ransom or not. And I was like, what? I'm like, I just know who won Dancing with the Stars. So getting through that year was really difficult. Now, McCarthy says she is much more political now than she was when as a co-host on The View because our latest administration has helped so much. Well, I think here's the thing, helped. You mean, child, this administration is a goddamn laughing stock. The fact of the matter is I think all of us have no choice to get more political because politics has infiltrated pop culture. It's not the other way around. It's not pop culture hasn't infiltrated politics. It's politics has infiltrated our pop culture. So back then, when y'all try to use this excuse every time somebody's who you don't particularly care for says something political, and you're like, "Shut up and dribble," or "Don't why don't you just make music and stop being so political," or "Why don't you just act and stop being political?" You can't. That doesn't fly anymore. Politics has been everything. And that's because this current president and this administration have found ways, because he's a marketer, that his thing is marketing from him being on Celebrity Apprentice and all that other stuff. He's found a way to make politics a marketable thing and a profit off of in a financial way. This is why you see people like Sucker A. Smith grifting and doing the dance to jump in and want to all of a sudden get into this. This is how you go from politics, well, not politics, from sports casting over there being one of the biggest sportscasters on ABC to jumping into politics on his own time because it's the new grift. Politics is the new grift. There's more money to be made when you make a lot of these Republican talking points than these boring ass Democrats who just want to play this Michelle Obama when they go low, we go high type of mentality. So she's talking about that she's gotten more political. I think you still are a bit of an airhead and you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to politics. I think you say certain things and you jump into certain things because it sounds cute or whatever. So I do feel like even that Jenny is still misinformed. But would agree with her on this, that I would be pissed if I signed on to a show where I'm only supposed to be on here talking about entertainment news and gossip and hot topics or pop culture stuff. And now you want me to give my opinion on politics. I'm like, that's not my thing. That's not my strong suit. And quiet as it's kept, 29 seasons later, there's still people on that damn show that don't know what the hell they talking about in regards to politics. They read shit given to them from them tired ass producers backstage on a cue card, or what is being chirped in their ear, and they recite it like Jennifer Lopez reading that damn teleprompter at her residency and trying to pass it off of that booty comments and the little jokes and the ad libs and stuff she was making, like she really was coming off the dome with it. Girl, we saw the damn we saw the teleprompter. So your tea been spilled. And funny enough, Rob Shooter actually did a whole article, and I'm like, sir, I believe you because we seen the video, and I played it on here for y'all. So I don't think Jenny McCarthy knows what she's talking about in politics, particularly when it comes to vaccines and things. And you shouldn't be surprised she's married to a damn Wahlberg. They all fucked up in that damn family and lean very much Jesus freaks, conservative, all of that mess. So, but yeah, she said, wait, hold on. What else did she say in this whole situation? She said, yeah, she said she's more political because of the whole administration. But she said, oh, but back then, oh, I would not. I would never even. They asked me to come back for like reunion shows. I was like, over my dead body, would I ever step foot in that place? And look, it's your prerogative. It ain't never stopped Elizabeth from going back, even though she probably has way worse political opinions than you do. And Sherry Shepherd, it ain't never stopped her from going back either. Now, speaking of Sherry Shepherd actually went, and there was a clip of Sherry talking about, I don't know if it aired yet, but Entertainment Weekly had the exclusive clip and basically came to Jenny's defense on her talk show. And yeah, she said that she about, regarding her saying over her dead body, she'll return to the Hot Topics table. Now, Entertainment Weekly's exclusive clip below for the from Thursday's Sherry talk. Okay, so it did air already. Sherry's talk show broadcast airing in different times in syndication. Sherry reflects on her time co-hosting The View with McCarthy, the 1994 Playboy Playmate of the Year and actress who sat at the panel for the season between 2013 and 2014. And so I do have the clip. I'm gonna just play it for y'all so y'all can hear it. I did have to change the speed. Hopefully they don't get me in these situations for playing this clip, because you know how these damn corporations are. But hey, YouTube, hold on, please hold.
It's no secret. Jenny McCarthy hated being on The View. She said she was hired to do one thing, but when she got the job, they made her do something else. I remember that day they switched it to politics. Jenny came into my dressing room just like that. She goes, Sherry, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I looked at her, I said, what you gonna do? What we gonna do? And everything that Jenny is saying is absolutely true. I felt really bad for my friend because they brought her on the show after a lot of focus groups said that they wanted less fighting about politics. They wanted to be more chill, more fun. And so they brought Jenny on because Jenny was light and she was funny and she was sexy. But then the focus groups changed their minds. They wanted the politics back. They wanted us going back and forth. So 2 weeks later, she's on the show, and I remember it to the day. 2 weeks later, they had the girl wearing glasses. And I looked up, I said, what the hell are you wearing glasses for? And she's like, Sherry, they want me to look like I know politics. They want me to look. And I'm going, and I was sitting there and I said, how do you have Playmate of the Year looking conservative? So they would try to make.
Hold on, that's the thing that pisses me off too, is that, oh, so throwing glasses on makes you look smart. We've seen a lot of people who got 4 eyes and about as dumb as a box of rocks. If you want to know what I'm talking about, have you seen Barry Weiss? That's an idiot running over there who's running CBS. She wear glasses. Do it make her look smart? Now we see what she's doing to that damn network.
Jenny looked conservative, but all she looked like was a sexy librarian. That's what she looked like. I used to make fun. I used to razz her all the time. And so, she had a hard time, like she was saying, because it was all politics. She had a hard time. It was so much politics. So I would suggest fun stuff for us to do. And one time I said, girl, let's go topless. All right, so we went topless on The View. This way I said, well, Jenny can show off her funny side. I just wanted to show off my boobs. So that's why, so we went topless. And y'all just know, that was the day Barbara Walters was not there that day. Because she would have had a fit. But, I also had the same problem as Jenny, because when I came on the show, they wanted someone light. They wanted a person who was a mother, to talk about being single, being a mother. It was supposed to be just very, very light celebrity. So I thought that I was going to be doing stand-up comedy, telling jokes. being funny was when I was on The View. But then Barack Obama ran for president, and politics was all we talked about. It was so hard for me because I was in this religion where we didn't, my religion I came from, we didn't vote. So I had never voted before. And Barbara, she would look at me and because I just wasn't, when you grow up in a religion and that's all you grew up around, you're really not, you don't know a lot about the world. So Barbara would always look at me. I remember one day she went, "Dear, read a book." And I said, "Uh-oh, we in trouble." Okay. So it was just about politics. So even though it was hard for me, I do have to say, I had the best time on The View. It was one of the best, hardest, most terrifying, most crying-filled experiences, but I loved it. And I'm friends for life with the women that I sat with at that table. I go.
Okay, so I pretty much think y'all got the point in regards to all of that. But here's the thing: it was like I totally get that, and that would have been, I feel like, a cool thing for her to do would be to like incorporate that into the show. That you know what, I grew up Jehovah Witness. We didn't really get to vote. We couldn't really interact with the outside world a lot. You kind of stay within the people. That's same thing with Scientology. Like you got to stay within that the people of the religion and all that other stuff. And so I didn't, you asked me to give commentary on a lot of things that I just am not well versed in. But that's still not an excuse because if you're going to do a show like The View, it's sort of like, yeah, if we're going to talk about certain topics the next day, give me the research and everything that I need to go into and read up on it so that way I can give my opinion and that all the other some of the show. Doing a show like The View, it requires a lot of homework. It's like doing this show if you're doing a daily show, a live show, it's like you have to, if you're gonna come on and talk about certain things, you do deep dives, you do your research, you do your homework, and you look up all the things so that way you know what the hell you're talking about when you're on that show. So um I totally get it, but like I said before, it's like you got I don't know. I just wish that The View would become a little more lighthearted stuff instead of them pushing all these Zionist talking points and everything. Because when I look at them, like when we look at The View today, are there anybody on there that still knows what they're talking about? Okay, so Alyssa understands she has a political background. She worked under Trump's first administration, so she's got a bit of a political background. I guess with Sunny Hostin, her being a former prosecutor who now is doing commentary and being working in television, she has a background in politics because if you're going to be a judge or an attorney, whatever, a lot of attorneys, judges, whatever, eventually get into politics, be a senator, government, any form of government they run into, even becoming president. They have that lawyer background. So I understand that. Joy has always been fairly political. I mean, she had a show on a couple of the cable channels, like her own Joy Behar show. So she has a bit, she's very much heavily into politics, so she gets a pass with that. Um Anna Navarro is very political. She's always been pretty political. She's a political commentator. So yeah, she has a political background. The only people on the show who really don't know what they be talking about half the time about politics is Whoopi. Whoopi's the EGOT, so I guess because she's a name, that's why they had her there. And Sarah just regurgitates talking points spoon fed to her by producers. So she's them two are the only two that don't really know what the hell they be talking about 9 times out of 10 when it comes to the politics. So, oh yeah, and let's get to the comments of what they were saying in regards to the whole vaccines and stuff in the comments regarding what Jenny McCarthy was saying on the what was that show? The Katie Miller podcast. Funny enough, you want to know something? They had like, you know how if you ever go on YouTube, they give you like the little, like if you're depending on what you talk about, they'll put a disclaimer on like if you talk about vaccinations or if you talk about certain things in politics, they'll put a disclaimer across. So here's the vaccination information that they put up on under Katie Miller's podcast. They said CDC vaccines have greatly reduced diseases that once routinely harmed or killed babies, children, and adults. People all over the world, including in the United States, still become seriously ill or even die from diseases that vaccines can help prevent. So this is what they put up there. Because they said you can die from a disease that vaccines can help prevent. So that's what they put up there. And then, so what people said in the comments was, I'm all for vermin not vaccinating their children. Shouldn't use car seats for seat belts either. The less protection, the better. It's basically saying you was a dumbass bitch. Another person said, why do you want war with Europe? Greenland is not yours. Another one said, everyone got a grift. Another person said, if people just stop and do their research, people have lots of it. They're called scientists. Neither of you care to understand, idiots. And then so people was literally up in there eating up Jenny McCarthy and Stephen Miller's wife, who, if I'm not mistaken, is with child again. Blech. Bringing another demon into the world. Oh, and another person said, baby coffins are so cute. But I was saying that, you know what, I guess you'll want to come up in here and start killing y'all children. Another person said, who's your new baby daddy, Kate? Rumors are it's Elon Musk's baby. Is it true? Please tell us. We won't tell little H. Another person said, Jenny and Katie, you might have a college degree, but you are not scientists. You have no scientific background. You don't understand science. You just spread misinformation and lies. I don't know how people sit up in here and read a lot of this stuff. But look, child, they up in there eating them up. One person said, well, here we are watching incompetent individuals spread more of their lies and nonsense. Oh, Jenny, did you hit your head? Oh, that bitch been an airhead. And there's literally one person I think that said, such a fun episode, always here for support. But everybody's talking about how much misinformation they're spreading. But here's the thing. This episode came out yesterday, and it has 5.1K views. Katie Miller, no shade, but this is not your wheelhouse. This is not something you're good at. Maybe you need to go back to just being a doting wife and just a baby maker, or better yet, just try to get back up on CNN, because you know CNN loves giving a lot of you psychopaths a platform. They keep doing it with Scott Jennings. And you've been on there a couple of times. So MAGA Light Network, CNN, which CBS is starting to turn into, why don't you go back to doing that? Because you're not bringing in the numbers. Nobody cares enough about you and your tired ass podcast for you to even be out here doing these interviews. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding dingbat Jenny McCarthy out here spreading misinformation? Sherry, you need better friends. But I've been around you, and you're not the brightest tool in the toolbox either. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.